Hi, my name is Roland, and I run Roland's Recycling.
I've been working with computers my whole life, and one of the things I've always found frustrating is when computers are thrown away after a few years because they feel slow, their battery's dead because of another problem, when really there are still many ways to make them useful. So a year ago I started Roland's Recycling. In a nutshell, my goal is to keep working stuff out of the landfill. Over the last year, I've been rebuilding older computers and either updating them so they could be used again for basic tasks, loading them with old games for kids, or finding another use for them myself. For example, my website, my storage server, camera system, monitoring, and even my personal desktop are all used computers. Anything I can't get working again, I do turn into scrap, and I try to make sure that every part is recycled as best I can. So I know there are a lot of other tech channels out there, but my hope is that this will be my contribution to the community that's trying to keep some of these old electronics going. I also hope to share some tips so that people who just need a cheap school or work computer don't have to spend a ton of money.
Enough scripted stuff. Today we're going to be taking a look at this ADDS PC1? PCI? I assume that's a Roman numeral, but got it off of Facebook Marketplace, and it's got an old Seagate drive in it. Is the first thing that caught my attention. I've got a computer that my dad built 25 years ago that I've been trying to get working, and I'm hoping I can use some parts from that to recover some of the data. It also came with this IBM, is this a Model F keyboard? I don't even know. Nice clicky key. And actually what I was looking at in the ad specifically was this monochrome monitor. Look at this thing. The monitor and the keyboard, they work great. I'm going to turn this thing off for a minute. Well, actually I'll leave that on because we're going to test out the computer. Now I've heard it doesn't post, but I have no idea really what else is wrong with it. So I'm just going to plug in my RCA cable to the back here. Got that running to the monitor. Got a power cord plugged in. And we're going to turn it on and see what happens. Long, short, short, short. Alright, well, so obviously doesn't post, not very happy, so let's get it open and see if we can fix it. Alright, excuse the mess, a lot of stuff coming through this week, so I'll make a video about cleaning it or something. That's what those YouTube guys do, right? I clean my office, what happens next? We're going to try not to be that kind of YouTube channel. I'm just kidding, I'm totally going to make one of those videos. I don't know what to make videos about. Alright, so let me get the camera a little closer. You can see we've got a few different cards in here. Obviously we've got the controller card for the hard drive. It looks like the power's disconnected from the hard drive and the other drive. Somebody was trying to troubleshoot this thing already. This, I believe, is the video card. And then this looks like an expansion card that has a lot of RAM in it. And I think these have a real-time clock. Yeah, this is the Tecmar. I think it's got a parallel port and a serial port on it as well. So now this computer already has parallel and serial. I do actually have another one of these cards I can try as well, but I think the first thing that we're going to do is try and take this out. And this has the 4264 modules in it. So I'm thinking that that code probably means a RAM failure, if I'm not mistaken. So just as kind of preliminary troubleshooting, I'm going to take these cards out and see if it'll just boot by itself. I'm going to bet that we're still going to get the same error though. Yep, so that's 2 beeps. Long, short, short, short. Alright, well. So this computer, when I was looking at it, I noticed it's an 8088. And I think most of the BIOS beep codes were the same for this. And I think what we're getting is general post failure, and then memory checksum failure. And so there are a couple of reasons I think this could be caused. obviously bad RAM itself, or some sort of BIOS misconfiguration. Somebody might have got in here and flipped a bunch of these dip switches, and now it's expecting something else. So I'm just going to try to go back to square one. And so I guess the first thing I need to do is go find a manual. So with any luck, we'll be able to find some data on what BIOS this is and what those beeps mean exactly. And so I'll go look that up and I'll get back to you. Alright, you can see these two right here, I believe are going to be the BIOS controllers. Yeah, I can see BIOS printed on the, well, no, I can't see anymore. Oh, there it is, BIOS printed right there. The issue is I'm not really seeing anything. Okay, so I'm having a hard time identifying this motherboard just by looking up the manufacturer. Looks like Multitech made these little like student helper computer plug-in computer things. I don't know. TV plug-in, sorry. Like a lot of Commodore clones, that kind of thing. So there, a lot of stuff comes up for that. But this seems pretty uncommon. I'm not seeing a whole bunch on the brand or the computer or anything. So I've gone to this website right here, and they have just pictures of old schematics or old boards. And so I've got kind of the general layout here of what the board was, but we're going to kind of see if we can figure out what this motherboard might have been, or at least one that's similar enough that I can find the dip switches. Well, it's looking like this is going to be a little harder than we thought. So Multitech was, well, not Multitech, but the ADDS, Applied Digital Data Systems or whatever, that was bought by, oh gosh, NCR, that's it. Anyway, I can't find an exact match for this motherboard, so we got a weird one on our hands. There's a couple things I'll try. I do have an extra one of these boards, so I'm going to go grab that and plug it in, just to see if it was configured for this guy, and this guy's not working. Alright, here's my backup one of these guys. You can see it's a little bit crooked. It's had some pressure put on it at some point. We're going to give it a shot anyway. It can't be any worse than what's in there, so just carefully get that down in the slot. Yeah. Well, alright, I might make a couple forum posts, see if I can figure out what's going on here. Well, here is my forum post asking for some help, because this one's got me beat. I'm going to keep trying a few things, but I don't want to mess up any of those dip switches any farther than they already have been. My guess is that somebody was trying to install that extra RAM board and fiddled with the dip switches, and now it's not detecting the RAM correctly. So we'll give it a shot. See if anyone knows. It looks like, so I've tried a bunch of different RAM configurations. I've tried pretty much every dip switch configuration I could find. It looks like this one is having some sort of issue that I'm going to have to get either I'm going to pick up an ISA debug tool and an EEPROM reader. We're definitely not giving up on it yet. The fact that it's reading the BIOS enough to start beeping is a pretty good sign. So I'm going to go ahead and get some diagnostic tools, and we'll see if we can try some diagnostic ROMs in there, and if we can find a bad component, or maybe even the BIOS is bad. But for now, I think we're going to go back to this Cyrix machine up here and see if we can't get that running. I've also got this guy, which we're going to be working on, computer. I'll do a video on this hopefully tomorrow or the next day, but we're going to get that guy. It's a Pentium Pro, and I think it's running at 100 megahertz, but this will be a cool computer because it's actually got two CPU sockets in it. It needs a new, oh gosh, keyboard part soldered onto it, so we'll see if we can get that running. For now though, I'm going to take a break and get some of these computers posted online, and we'll get back to this thing as soon as we can. So if you want to see more about this guy, and that one, and all the rest of this garbage in here, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll try to be getting some videos out here on the rest of this shortly. And as always, if you want a cheap deal on a used computer or something for your vintage games, then check out my Facebook page. I'll either have stuff listed occasionally, or you can request things and I'll get you a price. Consultant Skippy, what do you think? What is your opinion? Very helpful. Thank you muchly.